In this lecture, we will be discussing about minimal polynomial of a linear operator. But before knowing about minimal polynomial, we need to know a few about the characteristic equation or the characteristic polynomial of a matrix or of a linear operator. So suppose A be an n by n matrix, n by n square matrix, then we all know what is the characteristic polynomial of A. It is determinant value of A minus xi. This is equals to 0. This is called the characteristic equation of the matrix A. Now solving this equation, we will get total n roots. These roots are called the characteristic value or the eigenvalue of the matrix A. Now there are several theorems using the characteristic value or the characteristic vectors of a particular matrix, as if every square matrix satisfies its own characteristic equation. This theorem is also known as Cayley-Hamilton theorem for eigenvalue. Here we also have the Cayley-Hamilton theorem for minimal polynomial, but this is for this characteristic equation. Cayley-Hamilton theorem for characteristic equation, which states that every square matrix satisfies its own characteristic equation. And there are few properties of different type of matrices, like for two similar matrices their characteristic equations will also be same. That means their characteristic values will also be same. And if we have a characteristic polynomial, suppose generally we denote it by psi ax, A is our required matrix, then its characteristic polynomial is generally denoted by psi ax. Now suppose lambda be a root of its characteristic polynomial of multiplicity r. That means lambda is a r-fold root of the characteristic polynomial of a matrix A. Then lambda is called the r multiplicity, or r is called the algebraic multiplicity of lambda. Similarly, we can also define the geometric multiplicity of lambda also, and we know that algebraic multiplicity always greater or equal to geometric multiplicity. This is also another important theorem. We need to prove that. And next, the theorem or the property is, we have to prove this property of characteristic polynomial, because in the discussion of minimal polynomial we are going to use it. So the statement of the theorem is, if lambda 1 comma lambda 2 comma dot dot lambda n be the eigenvalues of a matrix A, be the eigenvalues of a matrix capital A, not necessarily in distinct order, not necessarily in distinct order. And if lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda n be eigenvalues of a matrix A over a field A K over a field K, comma, not necessarily distinct, then f of lambda 1 comma f of lambda 2 comma dot dot f of lambda n are the eigenvalues of the matrix Fa, are the eigenvalues of the matrix Fa, where fx is any polynomial over k, where fx is any polynomial over k. So at first check the statement of the theorem. What does it state? It states that if lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda n be n eigenvalues of a matrix A, they may be distinct, may not be distinct. Maybe some lambda and lambda j are equal. It can also be happened. So these are total n eigenvalues of a matrix A. Then their functional values, that is f lambda 1, f lambda 2 dot dot f lambda n for any polynomial fx over the same field K. Then these functional values f lambda 1, f lambda 2 dot dot f lambda n will be the eigenvalues of the matrix Fa. Where A is a matrix, if we apply f of A, this will also form another matrix. Suppose fx equals to, suppose fx is our x square plus 2x plus 5. This is our fx. This is a polynomial over the field of real number. Then what will be fa? it will be capital A square plus 2 capital A plus 5 into I. I means the identity matrix of same order as that of A. That means after this addition and multiplication by scalar, we will get another matrix, suppose naming it as B. Then we are saying if the eigenvalues of A were lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda n, then the eigenvalues of B will be f of lambda 1, f of lambda 2 dot dot f of lambda n. We need to prove that. So let's take gamma, capital gamma be the algebraic closure, of the field K, Now you don't know what algebraic closure is. Let me get one example for this algebraic closure. Suppose we are considering one matrix, this matrix. Suppose we are considering one matrix capital A for which its characteristic polynomial is x square plus 1. Then its corresponding characteristic equation will be x square plus 1 equal to 0. Now after solving, we are considering the eigenvalues will be x equals I comma minus I. Now we have considered A as a real matrix. That means the A is a matrix over the real number field R. But if you consider the characteristic values or the eigenvalues of A, they are not belongs to R. They are belongs to a suitable algebraic extension of R. What is that extension? That extension is called C. That is the field of complex number. So suppose this one is R and the whole thing that was C. So matrix A is taken from this R, but its eigenvalues are lying here, I comma minus I. So for that reason, we have considered gamma be the algebraic closure of the field K. Here for this particular example, C is the algebraic closure of the field R. So not necessarily always the eigenvalues will be, all the eigenvalues will belong to the field from which we have taken the matrix. So for that reason, we are considering its suitable algebraic extension. So we are considering let gamma be the algebraic closure of the given field capital K. Okay, and it is given that lambda 1 comma lambda 2 dot dot lambda n be the eigenvalues of the matrix A, which having the order n. A is an n by n matrix and these are the total n eigenvalues of A. And it is given over the field K. Now we have considered gamma is the algebraic closure of K. That means all these eigenvalues lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda n, this will also belongs to gamma. That means suppose this is our K and this quantity is gamma. A is taken from here. Maybe some lambda 1, lambda 2 belongs to K, maybe some belongs to in that area. That means ultimately all the lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda n will also belongs to this set gamma. That means the characteristic polynomial, if we consider the characteristic polynomial, naming it as psi ax, generally we denote it by characteristic polynomial or the characteristic equation psi ax equal to 0, it can be completely splits up into linear factors over gamma, right? Because all the roots of this characteristic polynomials belongs to gamma, so we can write this characteristic equation psi ax completely into linear factors over the field gamma. That means we are writing it as psi ax equals, this is det of a minus xi, and this is, we are writing it as x minus lambda 1 into x minus lambda 2 dot dot x minus lambda n. This is our characteristic polynomial. Now we are choosing fx, any polynomial over k, which is already given in the question. That is fx, any polynomial belongs to kx. Any polynomial over the field k. And we are considering any fixed element mu belongs to gamma. let any fixed element mu belongs to gamma. What is gamma? Gamma is the algebraic extension of our given field K. Mu belongs to gamma, any fixed element. Okay. Then we are considering the expression fx minus mu. This expression. This can be expressed as the product of linear factors over gamma, this fx minus mu, because fx belongs to K, which is a subset of gamma, and mu already belongs to gamma. That means this whole quantity can be expressed as linear factors over gamma. We can write it. So let fx minus mu, it can be written as some x minus alpha 1 into x minus alpha 2 dot dot x minus alpha r. We don't know its order, so taking alpha r. And the check here, the coefficient, the leading coefficient of x becomes 1. But we don't know this is a monic polynomial, this will become a monic polynomial or not. So for that reason we are considering any constant a, so that it doesn't become a particular case. It becomes in general case. So a will take different values. For that reason we will get different leading coefficient. So fx minus mu, we are writing it like this. Now putting x equals to capital A, then what will we get? Fa, it is a matrix, minus mu I. We cannot subtract this mu from a matrix. We need to multiply it with the corresponding identity matrix. So Fa minus mu I, this is equals to A into A minus alpha 1 I, A minus alpha 2 I dot dot A minus alpha R I. Now considering determinant value on both sides, this and determinant value, and there are total n number of terms, so this will become a to the power n data of a minus alpha 1 I to a minus alpha 2 I dot dot a minus alpha R I. Now what is this? This is psi a of alpha 1, because the characteristic equation of a, just by putting instead of x we are putting alpha 1, then we will get this value. So this is psi a alpha 1. Similarly the next one is psi a alpha 2 dot dot psi a alpha r. Now we know the value of psi ax, that was x minus lambda 1 into x minus lambda 2 dot dot x minus lambda n. So in the next line we are putting the value of all these psi a alpha 1, psi a alpha 2 dot dot psi a alpha r. So it will be alpha 1 minus lambda 1 into, for the first part, then alpha 2 minus lambda 2 dot dot alpha 1 minus lambda 2, then alpha 1 minus lambda n. This is for the first part, psi a alpha 1. Next for psi a alpha 2, we are writing alpha 2 minus lambda 1, alpha 2 minus lambda 2 dot dot alpha 2 minus lambda n, and so on. Ultimately we will get alpha r minus lambda 1 into alpha r minus lambda 2 dot dot alpha r minus lambda n. Now there are total r bracket terms. In third bracket there are total r terms, and for each of the term for each of the bracket there are total n terms. Now we want to take minus common, so we will get minus 1 whole to the power nr, total nr number of terms, because there are total n third bracket, and each third bracket there are total r third bracket, and each third bracket there are total n number of terms. So minus 1 whole to the power rn into, if you take minus common from the first bracket, then what will you get? Lambda 1 minus alpha 1 into lambda 2 minus alpha 2 dot dot lambda n minus alpha 1. That means ultimately f of lambda 1 minus mu If you check the expression for fx minus mu, you will easily get it. Next, in the next step, it will become f of lambda 2 minus mu dot dot f of lambda n minus mu. Right? So we have started with the dead value of fa minus mu lambda, mu I. So dead value of fa minus mu I, and we get this is equals minus 1 whole to the power nr into f of lambda 1 minus mu into f of lambda 2 minus mu dot dot f of lambda n minus mu. This is fa minus mu I. Now, as the above relation holds for each values of mu, what we can write from this equation, this is true for all values of mu because we have chosen mu arbitrarily. So instead of mu we can put x, so we can write fa minus xi equals minus 1 whole to the power rn into f of lambda 1 minus x into f of lambda 2 minus x into dot dot f of lambda n minus x. That means from the left hand side what we can write, this is the characteristic equation of fa, right, because the dead value of fa minus xi, this is the characteristic equation of fa, and for the right hand side from this factor we can say that this is a root, this is a root, dot dot this is a root. That means all the characteristic roots of fa are f of lambda 1 comma f of lambda 2 comma dot dot f of lambda n. So we have started with the characteristic roots of a, which were lambda 1 lambda 2 dot dot lambda n, and we got that characteristic roots of fa are f of lambda 1 f of lambda 2 dot dot f of lambda n, where f is any polynomial over the given field capital K. Okay, this proves the theorem. Now we need this theorem in the discussion of minimal polynomial. So moving to the next part, which is minimal polynomial. Now before knowing minimal polynomial, we need to know few things. Number one, monic polynomial. What does it call? A monic polynomial. Monic polynomial means a polynomial in X, suppose over a field K, it is said to be monic polynomial if the coefficient of the highest power of X, if the coefficient of highest power of X is unity, then this is said to be a monic polynomial. That means a polynomial fx is said to be monic polynomial if the highest power of x is a unity in that given unity of that given field from where the polynomial is taken. So if I want to say, suppose a monic polynomial in real number field, suppose we are trying to give an example of a monic polynomial over real number field, then an example could be x cube plus 5x square plus 3. This could be an example of a monic polynomial because the leading term is here, this one, highest term is x cube and its coefficient is 1, which is a unity in the field of real number. So this is an example of a monic polynomial over the real number field. That means unity means not always 1. The unity differs according to the field. So whatever field we are talking about, we need to consider its unity. If the leading coefficient or the coefficient of the highest power is unity on that particular field we are talking about, then this polynomial is said to be a monic polynomial. And the next thing you need to know is annihilating polynomial. Annihilating polynomial is, suppose we have a be a square matrix of order n over a field capital K, and fx is any polynomial over the field capital K, that is fx belongs to kx. Now if fa equals 0, if a equals 0, 0 means 0 matrix, then we say that the polynomial fx annihilates a. If fa equals 0, then we will say the polynomial f annihilates a. That means under this f, under this polynomial, this matrix A will become 0 matrix. Then it is said to be annihilating the matrix A. And we will say this f is an annihilating polynomial of A. For particular this matrix, f is an annihilating polynomial. Now moving to the definition of minimal polynomial. So minimal polynomial is the monic polynomial of least degree which annihilates A. Minimal polynomial is the monic polynomial of least degree which annihilates A. This is said to be the minimal polynomial of the matrix A. Okay, so for being a minimal polynomial, it should be a monic polynomial. That means the coefficient of highest degree terms of x should be unity in that field, and it should be of least degree. That means we can get more than one monic polynomial which annihilates A. Annihilates A means f of A equals 0. Now we get suppose one value of f. For that reason fa becomes 0. We can get some g also, such that g of A is also becomes 0. That means f is an annihilating polynomial, g is also becomes an annihilating polynomial. But the minimal polynomial would be which is least degree among both of these. That means for being a minimal polynomial, we need to satisfy that number 1, it should be a monic polynomial, number 2, it should annihilate the matrix A, and number 3, among all the annihilating polynomials, it should be of least degree. Then if these 3 conditions satisfied by a polynomial, then we will say it is a minimal polynomial of A. Okay. Now the next theorem is, we will discuss few properties about minimal polynomial and its relation with characteristic polynomial, because with the help of characteristic polynomial we will find the minimal polynomial for a particular matrix or for a linear operator. So there is a so much relation between characteristic polynomial and minimal polynomial. We need to discuss it one by one. So at first property of minimal polynomial, which states that the minimal polynomial of a matrix is always unique. The minimal polynomial of a matrix is always unique. That means rather saying the monic polynomial, in the definition of minimal polynomial, we can say the unique monic polynomial of least degree which annihilates A. This is said to be a minimal polynomial, because minimal polynomial is always unique. So we need to prove that. For proving it, let us consider a matrix capital A over a field K, suppose, and let the minimal polynomial of the matrix is of degree R. Let the minimal polynomial of the matrix A is of degree R. That means no non-zero polynomial of degree less than R can annihilate A, because minimal polynomial is of the least degree polynomials among all the annihilating polynomial. So from here we can say that no polynomial of degree less than R can annihilate A, because this will be against the definition of minimal polynomial. So no polynomial of degree less than R can annihilate A. Now let us consider there are two minimal polynomials, fx and gx. So let fx equals some x to the power r plus a1 x to the power r minus 1 plus dot dot plus ar minus 1x plus ar this one, and gx equals some x to the power r plus b1 x to the power r minus 1 plus dot dot plus br minus 1x plus br. Let fx and gx be two minimal polynomial of a if possible. We need to prove that the minimal polynomial is unique. So we have taken two minimal polynomials. Now that means both of them annihilates a, that is f of a is also 0 and g of a is also 0 by the definition of minimal polynomial. So f a is 0 and g a is 0. 0 means 0 matrix obviously, because f of a is a matrix also. So both of them are 0. That is, from here we can write a to the power r plus a1 a to the power r minus 1 plus dot dot ar minus 1 a plus ar capital I, this is equal 0 matrix, and then a to the power r plus b1 a to the power r minus 1 plus dot dot plus br minus 1 a plus bri equals to also 0 matrix by the definition of minimal polynomial. Now subtracting these two, what will we get? This and this will be cancelled out. So we will get a1 minus b1 a to the power r minus 1 plus dot dot ar minus 1 minus br minus 1 a plus ar minus br I, this is equals 0 matrix. Now consider the polynomial. From this here we can say the polynomial a1 minus b1 x to the power r minus 1 plus dot dot ar minus 1 minus br minus 1 x plus dot dot ar minus br equal to 0. If you consider this polynomial, from this line we can say this polynomial is annihilates a. This polynomial annihilates a. From this line we can say it. But check the polynomial is of order r minus 1, which is a contradiction, because we have already claimed that we have already taken that the minimal polynomial is of order r. So any polynomial which having the degree less than r cannot annihilate a, but here we got one polynomial of degree r minus 1 which is obviously less than r and it is annihilating a. This is only possible when this polynomial is a 0 polynomial. It is only possible when it is a 0 polynomial. 0 polynomial means all the coefficients should be 0, that is a1 minus b1 equal to 0 dot dot ar minus 1 minus br minus 1 equals 0, ar minus br equals 0, that is a1 equals b1 dot dot ar equals br, and so on. That means both the polynomials fx and gx are same. Both fx and gx are same. That means whenever the minimal polynomial for a matrix, it is always should be unique. So what becomes the definition of minimal polynomial? The definition is the unique monic polynomial of least degree which annihilates A is said to be the minimal polynomial for the matrix A. Or if you want to say the definition of minimal polynomial of a linear operator, then what you have to say? Just the same thing, the unique monic polynomial of least degree which annihilates the given linear operator, suppose capital T, then this is said to be the minimal polynomial of the operator T. Next, moving to the next property of minimal polynomial. The next property, it states that the minimal polynomial is a divisor of every polynomial that annihilates A. Minimal polynomial is theorem or property, whatever you want to say. The minimal polynomial is a divisor of every polynomial that annihilates A. That means whenever we will get one annihilating polynomial of A, that is suppose G is an annihilating polynomial, that is G of A equal to 0, then minimal polynomial will divide that G. We need to prove that. So let MAX, generally we use MAX for minimal polynomial and psi AX for characteristic polynomial. So let MAX denote the minimal polynomial of A, and HX be any polynomial which annihilates A. HX be any polynomial which annihilates A. So from here we can write HA equal to 0 matrix, and MAX, this is the minimal polynomial. Minimal polynomial means obviously it will annihilate A, because by the definition of minimal polynomial it comes. So we can also write MA equal to the 0 matrix. Okay, now we get two polynomial, one is MAX, another one is HX. So we are applying division algorithm for polynomials. Then what will we get by division algorithm? By division algorithm we will get one quotient, suppose it is naming it as QX, and one remainder RX, right? By applying division algorithm we will get one quotient and one remainder for these two polynomials MAX and HX, such that they can be written as HX equals MAX into the quotient which is QX plus the remainder which is RX. And RX, the remainder, have some property. What's the property? That RX is either a zero polynomial or its degree is less than the degree of the divisor. That is, either Rx is a zero polynomial. If it is zero polynomial, then there is no remainder. That means ultimately it is purely divisible by that MAX. HX is clearly divisible by MAX in that case. So either Rx is a zero polynomial or degree of Rx should be strictly less than the degree of the divisor, that is MAX. This we got this from by applying division algorithm over the two polynomials MAX and HX. We got this line. Okay, now putting x equal to a on both sides, what will we get? HA equals MA to QA plus RA. Now H obviously 0, this quantity